everyone, I'm Sarah and this is Budgetsew, where we create stylish, fashionable looks as inexpensively as possible. Today is December 15th and the 15th day of Vlogmas. Vlogmas is a holiday event where YouTube creators, such as myself, post a video every day in December leading up to Christmas. Today we're going to make a gold pine cone tree. Just a quick note before we get started. Today I'm wearing Butterick 4403. The link to the sew along with that top is right here at the top of the screen. Over the years, my parents have planted numerous coniferous trees on their property, and it's nice to see how those small evergreens have grown into magnificent trees. I remember as a child looking at one tree, a blue spruce in the center of my parents' front yard, and thinking, it will never grow. Now it's so tall and large, it's like a skyscraper. I remember my dad hauling buckets of water out to the pine trees in the backyard to keep them alive during dry periods. Some survived and some perished, but he never gave up on forestation, and now they have a property that they enjoy and that rivals the best parks. This past spring, I collected blue spruce cones from my parents' property and then placed them in a paper bag to dry them out. I closed the top of the paper bag with clothespins so that when the cones opened and dispersed their seeds, they wouldn't end up all over the house. Now you can use any type of cones for this project, but I chose blue spruce cones because they're longer and narrower than other tree cones. My first step was to lay out all the blue spruce cones in a single layer so that they could be painted. I enlisted my mom's help again with this project. I chose Beauty Tone Metallic Lacquer Spray Paint in a gold gloss for this craft. I love gold spray paint. It can fix just about anything. I use gold spray paint on quite a few items that I bought at thrift shops and Dollarama, a Canadian dollar store. It makes things look expensive even though they're secondhand or cost $1. I bought this can at Home Hardware for $8.49. Be sure to read all the instructions before using this product or another spray paint, and make sure that you are in a well-ventilated area when spraying. We spray painted outside and wore masks while doing so. Once the blue spruce cones were dry, we flipped them over so that we could paint the other side. I used the whole can of paint for this project. It was like the blue spruce cones drank up the paint. There were quite a few projects laid out on the plastic sheet to be painted that day. In the upper right corner are my salt dough ornaments that I spray painted chrome. I attached a white ribbon through the hole in the top of the ornaments and then hung them from my Christmas tree. The link to the video where I show you this craft is at the top of the screen. In the bottom left corner are my pine cones, which I also spray painted chrome. I hot glued black thread to the top of these ornaments and then hung them from my Christmas tree. The link to the video where I show you this craft is at the top of the screen. In the top left corner is one more project that I have yet to show you. so stay tuned to Budgetsew for that upcoming video. You can choose any color of spray paint for this project. I think that green would have been fun to use, or maybe even white. Choose the color you like best. My next step was to cut out the base for my centerpiece. I used a produce box because it was extra thick and stiff. I traced one of my mixing bowls to get a large circle. Then I used a knife to cut out the circle. I was extra careful doing this step. The cardboard was corrugated, so I had to slice through multiple layers in order to cut out the circle. My produce was delivered in this box earlier in the week, and it was perfect for this project. The cardboard must be stiff in order for it to be able to take the weight of the pine cone tree, which is about 2 pounds. Once my circle was cut out, I saw that the edges looked a bit rough, so I cleaned them up with a pair of scissors. Before I continue with the gold pine cone tree, please like and share this video with your friends and family. I would love to help others sew and refashion on a budget and troubleshoot their favorite patterns. I also love sharing the treasure that I find at thrift shops. If you'd like to see more from Budgetsew, please subscribe and make sure that the bell is on so you receive a notification when I release a new video. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Budgetsew. Now, back to the Christmas craft. My next step was to plug in my hot glue gun and glue the blue spruce cones to the cardboard circle. Make sure that the printed side of the cardboard is facing down. I chose larger blue spruce cones that look to be about the same size for the first row of the tree. I arranged the cones in a circle with the bottoms of the cones at the edge of the cardboard and the tops pointed towards the center. I applied hot glue to the cardboard and to the blue spruce cones in the hopes that it would really make them stick. I used a Value Village thrift store brown paper shopping bag to collect my pine and blue spruce cones. It was a large bag that held over 100 cones, but you do not need that many for this project. I had a lot of fun collecting them, but at the time I didn't know what I was going to do with them. This idea was a spur-of-the-moment thing. After the first row of cones had been glued to the cardboard, I moved on to the next row. I love this hot glue gun because I don't have to wait for the glue to dry. It dried and hardened in seconds. I bought my hot glue gun on Amazon.ca a few years ago, and it still works like brand new. When I bought it, it came with 40 multicolored sticks, but I used only clear for my tree. For the second row, I glued my first blue spruce cone in between the first row cones so that the second row's cone overlapped the edges of the cones below it. As I moved up the rows,
I followed the same steps, but I also brought the row of cones closer to the center of the cardboard circle so that it formed a tree shape. The cones must be gradually moved closer to the center so that the tree can come to a point. I also used smaller cones as I moved up the tree. Don't be afraid to use a lot of glue. If you keep the glue to the inside of the tree, no one will see it. As I worked my way to the top of the tree, I closed off the inside with my rows of blue spruce cones. I used fewer and fewer cones in my rows as I got closer to the top. If your tree is not feeling too sturdy, apply more glue on the inside of the tree. I applied a lot of extra glue too. If you accidentally add glue to the outside of the tree, and it's quite noticeable, apply a coat of spray paint to the completed tree to cover it up. Then I glued the final blue spruce cone to make the pinnacle of the tree. I glued the cone upside down so that the top was glued to the tree and the bottom was upright. My final step was to hot glue some cord to the tree base to cover the edge of the corrugated cardboard. I bought the gold cord at Fabricland years ago for my lasso of truth for my Wonder Woman costume. I wound it up and stitched it to my sequined belt. I also used this cord on my fabric gift bags. The link to that video is at the top of the screen. Then I tucked the ends of the cord underneath one of the blue spruce cones so that the ends were no longer visible. Here is the finished centerpiece.
I hope you enjoyed making a pine cone tree with me. Please like and share this video with your friends and family. I love sharing my new, vintage, and out-of-print sewing patterns, and my tips, tricks, quick fixes, and even my mistakes when sewing along with you. I also love sharing my wonderful fabric finds that I thrifted from charity shops, as well as brand new fabric online and in-store. If you'd like to see more from Budgetsew, please subscribe and press the bell so you receive a notification when I release a new video. If you'd like to stay up to date with Budgetsew, follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Budgetsew. Thanks for watching. See you next time.